Hey guys, sorry about that. We have got some sort of misbehavior here on the part of the technology. We've had a couple rough days with the tech, so hopefully we're live. I hope this thing's popping up there for you because I wanted to go over a couple things that happened today and just sort of discuss protocols and the things you want to do, things you don't want to do. I mean, all in all, it's been a good day, up pretty well in the Nasdaq futures on a day that's been a whipsaw. So this morning we had we had economic reports, we had numbers that everything made sense and said market's probably gonna go higher, and then right off the open I made the cardinal mistake and fired off a market order. And a market order, if you're trading the triple Qs, is probably not going to be a bad thing. But a market order when you're trading the NQ or the ES or pretty much any futures contract can really wind up putting you in a bad place on that ladder. So let's take a look at what happened, and let's take a look at how I managed to avert a disaster, and then sort of talk about order handling and where I think the market's going this afternoon. So let's take a look at the charts. Here you see it. We have got the market this morning, and all right, so here it is. We've got the market this morning. Sorry about that again. And you see the pop on the open. So we definitely had this this shot to the upside, and then we were anticipating this move right here on the Nasdaq 100 and on the futures, and boy did we get it. So we were looking for a move higher, but what happened in the interim, and you have to manage trading for what it is. You can't say, I think it's going to do something, but the market doesn't really care what you think. I went and fired off an order right at the open, thinking I was going to get filled down here when price came down and bounced there, and instead I wound up getting filled all the way up here. So I fired it off like a stock trade, which would have got me probably zero slippage, and instead what it handed me was a futures trade that was inclusive of a bunch of slippage. So, why does that happen? There's, you can name any one of a number of things as far as the way that ladder is organized in futures versus the process of being elected for a fill or a partial fill in stocks. But putting together 5 contracts right around the open, or putting together more if you're trading bigger, can lead to a slip. So what happened then was that what was going to be a trade that I was looking to capitalize on a move probably up into about 372.25 or so, right? I was looking for a dollar move. First went and tracked all the way back down into here, and before you knew it, I was sitting on pretty much a $3,000 loss, and was really doing the thing that I tell all of you not to do, which is hoping that we were going to inflect right here and then bounce higher. So that was, this was going to be my uncle point down here below, below here. If that would have gone against me, that would have set my day up a little bit differently than what actually wound up happening. I went and then immediately sent myself back to school, put in a limit order, to exit the trade, and got out a little bit better than break even, a couple $100 on the position. So, it's tempting to look at something like that and say it was a gain. I'm going to look at that and say it was a giant screw up, and don't do it again, right? Don't go firing off market orders, Adrian, especially when you've told people for years not to do that. The reason for it, and Bibbs and I were talking about it this morning, is there's a lot of frustration when you're trading around the open, because you'll go and put a limit order in, say there, and then price winds up trading right down through your limit and goes back, reverses in the other direction, and you wind up sitting there, and everything you did, everything you thought happened, but it happened without you, right? So it gets tempting to go and just say, oh, you know what, just get me in, get me in, get me in. And then the reality of it is, you'd be better off just sitting on your hands for a while. I'd say all the time, use your hands as a seat cushion. That was my buddy Landry used to say that all the time. Sometimes the best use for your hands is as a seat cushion, and I couldn't agree more. Then over the course of the morning, right, we've got this move higher here. And once we extend it all the way up and out of here on on our, hang on one second, guys, on our position, or on our triple Qs, I was saying to everybody, we've got to wait and, let this come back to us. Just have to manage a position of my own here for a second. And, let it come back to us and maybe get down into the support. And, we were looking for an inflection here. And sure enough, we got it. So if you were patient and, you did what we were talking about doing in the room. So this was all discussed in the first hour trading pit. The Bibster knows what I'm talking about. Riggs knows what I'm talking about. Everybody knew that what I was saying was no more market orders. Let's get in there and set up a limit order and put it right at a place that makes logical sense. And that, in fact, happened. And that 371.19 level then gave you a nice move up into 372.24. On the future side of it, that's a really healthy move. And it, it got you exactly where you thought it was going. It moved to confluence, and confluence has been the key word all day long, right? Because as things move into pivots, as things move into 2SD excursions from the average, what we've seen today is that we start seeing some orderly trading, and from the pivot anyways, you're getting a move, back up into that measure of central tendency, the moving average, and, things are lining up okay. So, really the moral of the story is, if you don't get in, don't get anxious. And, don't convince yourself that, that missing a trade is the same as losing money. It's not. It's sometimes opportunity cost will leave you feeling like, you don't quite know what you're doing, or maybe you knew what you should have done and you didn't do it. Now you have to make up for that mistake. Don't do that. If you miss an entry, just get up, walk away, grab a cup of coffee, come back, wait for the next entry, and the next entry can do more, than just clean up your positions for you. The next entry can then be the one that you waited for, and you got in front of the opportunity, you did it correctly, and when things go your way, right, then you can pat yourself on the back and say, I did it right. And it's not about, oh my God, that thing swung so far against me and I wound up exiting with a profit. I'm some kind of a genius. Now, I should have never been in the position to begin with. And, that's a lesson that I've taught all of you a bunch of times, and that, teacher breaks the rules, he goes back to school too. All right, so the rest of the day, just focus on the mechanics of the thing. It's looking like, we've sort of filled the void, filled into the gap from this morning's trading, and we're back around the central pivot, right? So we're back around the fulcrum. And I think that going into the rest of the day, if you go into the closing bell right, what you can do is just look for those bands to narrow, look for things to tighten up a little bit, and then try to get in at the bottom of the range, out at the top of the range. My bias is still going to be on the long side, and if the whole thing goes short, then I'm just going to pass on this for the rest of the day. But it's been pretty good so far, oddly, considering how we started. All right, have a great day, and I will see everybody tomorrow.